Hello everyone and welcome to the HobbyGuard. In today's video, we will be watching and talking about some of the new, very exciting reveals for the game The Witcher 3, a game, mind you, that is over 10 years old now, way over 10 years old. If my math serves me right, it's gotta be at least 11 or 12 years old now, at least since I played it, if math is mathing. So there's some very exciting news about that game, and we are gonna watch the reveal video for that, but also I want to share with you some thoughts about The Witcher 3 in general, the world of The Witcher in general, because I have something to share with you, something very personal, something very private that I have kept to myself for a long time, but it is time, and I'll remove the mic for a moment just so that you can see. Feast your eyes. The truth is revealed. I am, in fact, a Witcher. Even though I am a Witcher of the School of the Bear, I have my wolf medallion because, fun fact, actually the writer of The Witcher, he didn't like the change of the video games to make like the Witcher schools their own thing, kinda, and he didn't like the idea of there being different Witcher schools and so on, and them having different animals, but I'm just nerding out. So, real quick, I wanna talk about The Witcher just before we jump into the reveals. I'll talk about The Witcher more philosophically speaking as a game, why it's so important, why it's so monumental, not only as a video game but as a world of fiction, as a series of books, as a TV show that never happened. It would be great if they made a Witcher TV show. Unfortunately, no one has thought of that. You know, a Witcher TV show that is strictly adhering to the books, or at least a good adaptation of the book. So unfortunately, that never happened. I think Henry Cavill would be a great Witcher. They should really think of him for the role one day in a perfect world where people make good decisions. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today. So actually, not only am I myself a Witcher, but The Witcher has been a very big part of my life for one reason or another. And in fact, it was one of my main inspirations to create the channel, believe it or not. I might get into that at some other point, but I'll explain that at some other point perhaps. It's not terribly relevant to the content of this video, but actually one of my first videos ever was a video of The Witcher, on the theme of The Witcher, ever on this channel, that is. And it was one of my most viewed videos at the time, with a whopping 17 views. Check that out, 17 views on that bad boy. Anyways, 3 likes. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thanks for the support, guys. I'm not being sarcastic at all. I fully mean that. But anyways, real quick before we jump into the reveals, I think that The Witcher 3, people don't understand why it is like such a big deal as a game. Because it's one of those video games that really you have to approach them as if you were approaching a work of art, not a video game itself. Now, there is a common critique of The Witcher games that says like, oh, the combat isn't good, or the skill tree system isn't good, both of which things are gonna be updated soon, which is very exciting, but I'll talk more about that later as we go into the reveals. But you gotta understand, the Witcher was like, if you read I'm a big fan of the books as well, and when you read the Witcher books, Geralt of Rivia, it's not really about the combat. Yes, he is an extremely well-trained and an exceptionally talented fighter with his Witcher swords. However, Witcher sword actually, but anyways, he prevails over very dangerous and drastic situations through a bunch of different skills, through his personality basically. He is very observant of his environment, he is very observant of people. He has a lot of attention to detail. He's a great tactician, a great strategist, a great planner. And in fact, much of the battles that go on in the book are not battles of blade and sorcery only. Sure, there's enough of that, but they are more often than not philosophical battles, battles of the soul, battles of morality, battles of the heart even. And Geralt is one of those characters who has growth, who has an arc which transforms him throughout the books, throughout the different stories that we get to experience through his eyes. And it is something that got perfectly translated, in my opinion, into the games, because you can approach the Witcher games as a like combat-based Monster Hunter kind of action RPG, action fantasy RPG, but I find it much more rewarding, as I mentioned earlier, to approach it as a work of art and kind of almost like a mystery thriller novel with in terms of the combat, right? I like to play it on the hardest difficulty, and for me the combat is mostly about preparation. Yes, skills come in very handy, like muscle memory and quick reflexes and quick reactions and all that stuff, but it is a lot more about how observant you are of the environment, how much attention you pay to the discussions going on in the background, how you foment your relations to the people that you meet across the journey. And there's a lot of people to meet across the journey. There's so many quests. There is like so much stuff going on. How you prepare, which potions do you craft, which armor do you craft, which, like, whatever it is that you're doing in preparation for the battle, that can drastically change the battle. And I guess I should jump into the reviews because I'm gonna nerd out very hard after we watch them. So if I keep talking now, I'll lose the leash on my tongue, and I don't want to bore you all out of existence. So I'm already here to jump into the trailer for something that I actually haven't watched. Actually, we'll get into the reviews for the upcoming update, but first we're gonna watch the upcoming DLC trailer, Songs of the Past, and I haven't watched this, so you'll get my live reaction to that. But before we jump into that, I just have a very quick announcement to make. Some of you might have noticed the content of the channel has slowed down to a crawl. I've been a lot more late in producing videos. I've been trying to stick to at least one video a week, but it's been very hard because, without getting into details, someone that I love a lot, love the most, and is very near and dear to my heart, is going through a very dark moment right now, and I have to just provide them with my full support at the moment, and it's just one of those things that take years to heal. So I'm not saying it will take me years to get back to the channel. I don't know that. I hope I'll be able to get my rhythm back on track soon enough. But that, along with some other things, some other health stuff and issues like that, has really delayed my production schedule. So I apologize for that, but I'm actually working on another video on Space Marine 2 Siege Mode, so keep an eye out for that. I'm already like editing, it just takes so long to edit and I'm not particularly good at it. But with that being said, I appreciate the patience as always. I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm very dedicated to this channel. This channel is like the product of love of my heart. And yeah, anyways, I just want to thank everyone who has been patient enough through this slow period. And let's jump into the trailer for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Songs of the Past. I'm already terrified.
Didn't say I was afraid.
Yeah. Oh my god, Emperor, that looks beautiful. Look at those monsters, dude. Nice. So
see the truth of Letton's beauty.
Nice. So we're going back into that Slavic folklore.
So we'll give it blood.
Oh, we get the chain. That's a chain from the book. That's awesome. God, Emperor, I'm so hyped for that. Okay, now we're gonna see the reveal for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Remastered. Okay, we're gonna watch the official trailer for that.
I see a white wolf striving forward towards a solitary tower. Never chose to be a witcher.
That looks beautiful,
Fate
man.
chose for me.
I mean, the old game still looks amazing. I was playing it just last year and it still holds up, but this is something else. I think they did something with the camera. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, yeah, I could do some drifting with Roach. Oh. Yeah. Mind you, I had already seen this, but I'm still super hyped. Hell yeah, dude.
Once you're a witcher, you can't just step off the path.
Nice.
You're one for life.
This looks amazing, man. This looks better than so
There's
many
never an
new
ending
games.
that's not also a new beginning.
Hell yeah. Free upgrade September 29th. Let's go. Okay, so that was it. That was a reveal for the upcoming, I guess, remastered version, which will be free if you already own The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is awesome because I own like 3 different versions of that game probably by now. But okay, so I'll address the some of the reveals there. First of all, the visuals. You gotta respect the work that would go into something like that because The Witcher 3 is an enormous game. Like the world of The Witcher 3, it's an open world RPG and it is huge. Probably so much bigger than many open world RPGs even that are even coming out today. And not only is it big, but the detail in each area of the game is impressive. It's amazing. And the amount of care that went into like each area is truly masterful, I would say. Every single town feels different. Every single town seems lived in. Obviously, it's not like every NPC has a story, and neither do they have to, but there is enough difference in every town, enough difference of characters, enough difference of environments that, and of quests too, or things that they sell, that there is almost a reason to check out every one of them. And it's one of the few games ever in which I've kind of become a completionist where I haven't like 100%ed, but I haven't 100%ed it, sorry, but I am in no hurry to finish that game, let's put it that way. Usually I'm very slow with games. If you watched any of my gameplays, specifically in RPG, I like to do roleplay and narrative play. Same thing what I do with like the Elder Scrolls games. But I was gonna say the old ones, but they're all old now anyways. But The Witcher 3 is very special in the sense that the world is a joy to explore. And it's one of those games where you really don't have to be like chasing dopamine the entire time. I love my Doom games. You guys know that. I love my Space Marine 2. But sometimes when you're playing that type of game, that type of piece of art that is The Witcher 3, and games like that, I would put like games like Dark Souls or any Soulsborne game into that category, or I don't know, there's many other games that I can think of where you just want to like step back, even sit or meditate or just stand and watch the sunset. Another game that came to mind just now was the original Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't played the new one, but the original one I did. And it's just one of those games that you really sometimes just need to take a moment, step back, appreciate the environment, appreciate the beautiful sunset, appreciate the beautiful towns, the forests, the cliffs, the seas, the fjords that you are into, and that you are in, sorry. And just appreciate it for what it is, a beautiful piece of fantasy of dark fantasy that is very inspired in Slavic folklore. And you know, it is presented so well, with so much care and attention to detail, that it is truly remarkable. It's the same thing as watching the Olympics basically, but for visual arts and for music and for interactive games. That like there's games within a game actually. You can play Gwent, the cards in that game if you're into that. So the fact that they went through the trouble of remastering all that detail, I think is admirable. I hope they did it like properly. I've been burned by AAA industries before, obviously, quite often actually. And you know, maybe I hope there wasn't like no AI used in that sort of stuff, but nor generative AI. But it is what it is. I trust CD Projekt Red to an extent, even though most of the people that worked on the original Witcher 3 game have moved on and have produced a new project, which is The Blood of the Dawnwalker, which I will absolutely play. I don't know how soon I will play, but as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna buy it at least, just to show them the support that they deserve. And it's one of those games that really kind of recontextualize what gaming is in your life, you know, especially now as compared to when it came out, because we had like social media back then, but people weren't as addicted to our phones as we are now, I'd like to think. Now it seems like life has perhaps this is just me being a boomer unk that, you know, is getting old, honestly, but now it feels like life has sped up so much, and everything just goes by so fast. And even with like interacting with younger people, sorry, I often notice that how they are just lost on their phones or lost in media or lost with constant distractions. And The Witcher 3 is one of those games that I don't see as a distraction. I see as almost like a gift to myself. It is a lengthy game, which is why I'm in no hurry to finish it. I've finished it quite a few times already, but not this last playthrough that I'm doing, because I'm at that point in life where I just want to enjoy it. Even if I get to play for like 1 hour, I'm gonna play. Sure, maybe I'll advance a quest, maybe I'll fight some monsters, maybe I'll hook up with some sorceresses, if you know what I'm saying. But more likely than not, I'll spend the time just turning off the minimap. That's a huge thing for me in that game. Even though the minimap is incredibly helpful, it kind of takes a lot away, because it's actually so helpful and so useful that it takes a lot away from the game. So I just turn that thing the hell off for moments, unless I really need it, because I'm also kind of dumb sometimes, and just enjoy the game, enjoy the character. I love creating my own character in video games, but Geralt of Rivia is one of those characters that is really a joy to walk in his shoes. That's the only way I can put it. You can make very drastic decisions in the game, and you can go one way or another, depending on what your personal Geralt of Rivia you think would do. So you can still like roleplay in that sense. But regardless of that, just the way he interacts with the world, the things that he has been through, the skills that he has, the abilities that he has, the views that he has in the world, where he tends to be a non-interventionist until he has to, and then you can tell how those consequences of the decisions and the actions that he takes have a weight to him, and you carry that weight through the game. And that is what it gives, like, that is why it's such a joy to just sometimes slow down and slowly walk around the town, or watch a live show, like watch some dancers, or walk through a library and buy some books and read through the books. And it is so rich, it feels so real, but in a fulfilling way, not in a fake way. It's not like, oh, I'm escaping from reality to keep myself distracted from the real world. No, it's one of those things that actually make you enjoy the real world more, if that makes sense. So I think as for gaming as a whole, that's a huge deal. Now, talking about the things that are getting fixed, like the combat system. Well, I already, I guess, to an extent talked about it, but yes, there were a lot of criticisms the first time in the original Witcher 3 when it came out about the combat system and the skill tree. And for sure, those were certainly like areas of the game that were not as rich as the rest of the game, and it's a fair criticism, I believe. But at the same time, I strongly hold that it is going to be like, it won't be a negative, obviously, that this gets added. It will only make the game better if it is done successfully, if this gets improved on, rather, like the skill tree thing and the combat thing, and the movement controls and riding roach controls and all that sort of stuff. That's gonna be huge as well. But at the same time, there is a magic to there being a certain stiffness to the combat, a certain stiffness to riding roach, because I guess those parts of the game being a bit harder or a bit stiffer just highlight that much more how important it is to focus on the preparation before the fight, to focus on your character, on which skills you unlock, on how you build your character. Again, as I said at the start of the video, which armor you craft, which potions you craft, which type of witcher do you want to be. You can absolutely be a berserker witcher, and you can build your character that way, where you almost have to do like almost no preparation and just jump headfirst into the action and just bash your head against the wall of monsters. And that's pretty much how I played my first playthrough when the game came out. But again, I suppose now being older, much older, and with life being so fast now, the last year when I played this game, I appreciated so much more that stiffness, because it made me focus more on the other aspects of the game. That being said, it is absolutely horrifically dangerous that the skill tree is getting improved, because I can also, like any good nerd, get addicted to skill trees and to character development, and how to make my builds and so on. And there was enough play. There were many options. I shouldn't say many. There were quite a few options of how to make your build on the base game. But then as the DLCs got added, it even got expanded on. So I don't know what they're going to add. But I am also kind of terrified that I will get lost in that new system, sort of what happened to me with Baldur's Gate 3, which is another game that I've spent like thousands of hours on. But I love the world, I love the game, I love the gameplay, I love everything about it. But the thing I've done the most in that game is to focus on the build, which is not something that I would normally do in The Witcher 3. So I guess I'll keep an open mind towards that. I'm in no way, shape or form opposed to that being a change that gets brought into the game if it's done again successfully. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is transmogrification. Transmogs will be added into The Witcher 3, which for me is a huge, massive plus. I also spend the most amount of time in RPG games that allow it in cosmetics. Doing cosmetics on my character, doing cosmetics on my armor, doing cosmetics on what I'm wearing. So the fact that you get to transmogrify armor and hopefully weapons too is gonna be a huge deal, because I have a very honest critique of the first Witcher 3. Some of the most amazing swords, amazing looking swords for example, or armor, by the time you get your hands on it, or by the time you finally have all the components to craft it, it's no longer useful and you kind of have to ditch it for something that looks like crap, but it's kind of what you need to get through a mission or through a quest. But the fact that this gets added is just gonna... it's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it might make it so that you hunt for more armor or for more crafting blueprints and things like that because you want the look of that armor. On the other hand, it might have a kind of negative repercussion where you like a look of certain armor so much that you just stick with that look for the entire game, even as you keep upgrading your armor. You might stick to just the one look and not really explore different looks of armor. So I warn people against that, because there are certain armors that on The Witcher 3 I would sometimes like find and wear because I didn't like how they looked, but they looked a bit silly at first. You know, some stuff with like ribbons or very colorful and whatnot. And you know, I had my very strict like dark fantasy mindset at the time or whatever, and I was like, no, I want it to look like this and that. But when you have to wear certain types of armor because it's again what you need to defeat a certain monster, or it has certain resistances that you absolutely need for your build, you kind of come to appreciate it. Even things that look ugly at first, when you have to look at them for long enough, for an hour or two, while you find something better, you're like, actually this is growing on me, you know, because it has its own style. There's a lot of different types of armor in the game, but there is a lot of personality, I will say, to every single suit and tier of armor. And again, wearing a certain armor for a prolonged period of time kind of makes you fall in love with it eventually, or at the very least notice all the love and attention that went into designing it. So that's the last thing I'm gonna say. I've yapped long enough. I wanted to make a short video today. Damn, my wife's gonna be so mad at me right now. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. But now I would love to read your thoughts on these. Are you excited about it? Do people still play The Witcher 3? Or if you haven't played, like, do you want to start now that you've seen all the new stuff that is coming out? I fully, obviously advise you to, but I'm clearly biased. But with that being said, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. I'll read your opinions in the comments down below. As always, obviously this is a very new channel, so if you have any criticisms or suggestions, feel free to drop them down in the comments down below as well. I can only learn from your comments. And as always, remember, Ad Astra, and there are no female custodies. Oh, and no Witcher dies in his bed.